One of the hardest lessons I had to learn as a business owner was that I was the reason for the issues our business was facing. I was the problem. I was the one in my own way. And if you're not aware of this in your own business, then most likely you're in the same boat. This is the second part of our business growth series where I am taking my top growth advice from 14 years experience of running a successful marketing agency, as well as the lessons that I have learned from working with hundreds of different businesses, and I'm breaking them down into separate episodes. And today we are talking about getting out of your own way. Let's jump in. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Liquid Digital Marketing Podcast. Today is our second part of our business growth series, and we are talking about getting out of your own way. What does that mean, and how does this show up in a business? So how are you getting in your own way? So what this means is, a lot of times as business owners, we are obviously the leaders of our business. So we're kind of the ones that, if you were to look at the flow of success or the flow of work or the processes and how things are like the path to success, there's a bottleneck somewhere. There's always a bottleneck in a business. But most of the time in a small business, a lot of times the bottleneck is the owner because of multiple reasons. And that's because they're just getting in their own way. And we're going to kind of talk into detail about what some of those things are as a leader, as a business owner. What are some of those things that everyone has that are limiting you or creating a bottleneck in your business? So I'll share a story of mine. So it was, we're a 14-year-old agency, and we've always grown. We've always had growth. We've always done decent, but we've never had like any big, strong growth, right? It's always been kind of slow growing, but that's just us, right? Every business is different. And it was probably, I would say 8 years in that, we're like, why are we not where we want to be? Not that we were in a bad place, but why were we not where we wanted to be? Why were we not further ahead? And so I hired a business coach, and I quickly learned that it was me. I was the one. It was my issues in delegating work, ego, my limiting beliefs of, what I deserve, right? So that affected not just me, but the whole team, because I was the leader. I was the one that kind of like allowed the bottleneck to be me. So once I realized that, okay, I am the bottleneck, I am the problem. So how do I get out of the way? How do I not make me the problem? So that is really the starting point. And that's what we're talking about today, is like identifying that you are the problem. If you are, I'm not saying you are, but if you are, what problem is it? How are you the problem? So here are some ways that getting in your own way can show up in your business. So a lot of times it kind of goes into more mindset issues. When we think about mindset, we're thinking about things like your beliefs, like how you feel about things and what you will allow and what you think is right and what is wrong. And it's this belief that you have. So a lot of times it's a limiting belief, like you don't feel that you deserve it, or there's something in the past that is not allowing you to feel like, you want the success. So it's just a limiting belief that you have. And if you think that might be the problem, and a lot of these, I would recommend getting a business coach. I'm not that type of business coach. I've hired a mindset business coach who has helped me through these things. So that's why I want to share these, because it has been game changing for me and for our business. So limiting beliefs that you can have. One of mine was an inability to delegate. So a lot of times as business owners, we start a business because we have a talent. We're good at something, so we start doing it, and we're the doers. We're the ones that do it, and we're running the business, right? We're getting leads, we're getting the sales, we're sending out the invoices, we're doing the work, and then okay, we realize as we grow we can't do all of that. So what's going to give, right? We're going to start working on the business and hiring someone else to work in the business, and those employees or these people that come in, it's hard to say that you go ahead and you just start doing what I'm doing because it's hard because they're not going to do it as good as you. They're not going to do it as fast as you. They're not going to do it the same way that you do it. That's a hard thing to kind of get over. And I know most business owners deal with this. So it's really the inability to delegate, to let it go. And that could be stemmed from a few things. It could be, maybe you just have too high of expectations. And to be honest, you probably won't find someone that can do it as good as you and as fast as you. But the fact is maybe it doesn't need to be done as good as you're doing it and as fast as you're doing it. And maybe if you give the person a chance, not only will it get done as good, and it might get done better, you need to give it a little time. So that was one of my issues, was inability to delegate. And I'll be honest, I still kind of deal with that too. But yeah, the next one is ego, right? So, and that kind of goes into a lot of the things, your inability, like letting go of things, having to have the final word, having to have your hand on everything, having to always be right, or, there's, a lot of different ways ego kind of shows up, but this is a mindset that can be something that's getting in your way of growth. The other thing is not knowing your strengths and your weaknesses, right? So we all have them, right? Some people are really strong at certain things and weak at others. So what do you do with that? First off, you need to understand what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses, and know them. Like, jot it down, write it down somewhere, like get it out of your head into a thing where you can say, this is what I'm good at, this is what I'm not good at. And okay, you can spend the time to try to get better at what you're not good at, or you can spend the time to get better at what you are good at and hire out or delegate out what you're not good at. So if you're not good at, paying your bills and running QuickBooks and doing all of that stuff, then probably a good idea to not to try to get better at it, but just delegate it, right? Just delegate it out. Like, know what you're good at, know what you're not good at. If you're not good at getting on the phone and selling, then you need to hire a salesperson. If you're not good at managing projects or customer expectations, then hire someone that can come in and either create a system for you or that can handle that for you. So knowing your strengths and your weaknesses is going to allow you to delegate the right work, set up the right systems, get the right people into your business. Okay, some other ways that you might be getting in your own way is with financial mindset issues, right? So maybe you come from a lot of money, so you're one that's just going to kind of like throw a lot of money around and are quick to spend money, and you're not putting it back into the business the way you should. Or maybe you don't come from a lot of money and you hold on to every little bit that you get and you're not reinvesting it, or you're afraid to spend it and it's not allowing you to grow. Or maybe you are not able to, you don't want to pay people what they're worth because you're afraid to spend more money, whatever, right? Like, you get the point. There's this financial relationship with money that can get in the way of your business success. And yeah, it can be a problem. Another thing that I see with a lot of business owners, a lot of people have this. I think almost everybody has this to some extent, and that is imposter syndrome. It's also known as imposter phenomenon. Basically, it's when you don't feel like you're good enough, or like you're an imposter. Like the information that you're going to get out there and you're going to give, the value you're going to give isn't good enough, right? And you don't feel like, you kind of just feel like an imposter. Like you're not you don't know what you're talking about, and they're going to figure you out, that you're a fraud. So those feelings are known as imposter syndrome. And it's not really a syndrome. It's more of just a mindset. And we all have it. So there's ways to overcome it. Just identifying it is one thing. So yeah, that is, I think, the most important part. Yeah, so that is it, like getting out of your own way. My advice is to really do a self-audit. Look at yourself and see, are you getting in your own way? Are you holding yourself back? And I think the bigger message here is, yes, are you holding yourself back? But are you holding back than everyone else on your team? Right? So if you have a hang up that's causing a constraint in your business, then that's not just affecting you, that's affecting your business, and that's affecting everyone involved. So I feel you have a duty to recognize and to start working on these issues if they are present. And I think the easiest way is just to educate yourself and to just go get a business coach. Quite frankly, is the easiest way to do that. And if you are looking for a business coach, I would recommend looking for one that is in your industry if possible. If not, at least I would start with one that focuses on mindset. Because if it's a business coach that's going to help you with business tactics, but you don't have your mindset right, then those business tactics are great information and will work, but you'll have a harder time implementing and seeing them through if you're already struggling with these mindset issues. So that's my advice to you in getting out of your own way. If you found this episode helpful, please leave us a review or share it with your friends, and we'll see you in the next episode.